Welcome to Sovereign Radio. I'm your host, Scotty Saks. Well, it is with great gratitude and anticipation we bring in our next guest. He is my good friend from Romania, Marvin Atudorei. He is a television journalist. He has a show called Beyond Horizon. He's a podcaster. This is a smart guy. He's got an engineering degree. He's an author of 2 books. And he's got a PhD in international geopolitics. He's an amazing man in terms of his knowledge of the deep state and how the world has been run by the central banking system. We found common ground immediately when we met, and he is here today, and we're going to bring him into the show. Marvin, welcome to Sovereign Radio.
Hello, Scotty. Thank you very much for your introduction. I'm very pleased and honored.
Well, it's an honor to have you. You know, I've met a lot of people over the 6 years of doing the show. And as you know, I've traveled to Romania in the past. I'm very fond of Bucharest as a city. Love the women, by the way. Very, very beautiful place to go. There's a lot to see and do.
I agree.
Yeah, it's definitely. And then we met through a mutual friend in this radio show, and we immediately, as I said in the introduction, found common ground because for the most part, we view the world the same, and we have the same understanding of how the central banking system, the fiat money system, the Luciferian cult has run the world. And today I want to get an update. There's a lot that's happened in Romania that Americans are not aware of that kind of mirrors what's gone on in America with election fraud, stealing elections, the economy under the system and control of your deep state, which is our deep state. It's the same people, right? Would you say that's my first question? Would you say the people that have run America, that deep state is the same as your deep state?
In Romania, it's a branch. It's a branch. Actually, what happened after Donald Trump came to White House, the globalist main household moved to European Union, and now they want to control all the countries member in European Union in order to rubber it and to send the money to Ukraine. It is a greater plan. Maybe if you want, we are going to go into details. So in Romania, it is a branch of the globalists. They used to be in United States, but now existing this war between Donald Trump and deep state, they moved in European Union.
Understood. Well, you're calling it a branch, but it's overarching, run by the same people at the top of the pyramid. And they operate the same exact way. I want to start by focusing on your stolen elections, because without election integrity and fair elections, as nations, we don't have much of anything. If we're not electing our public officials in our government and they're being selected for us by your deep state branch, that's not a good situation. Tell us what happened in your last election with Georgescu, the man that you supported. I supported. I actually did a endorsement for him. He is the Donald Trump of Romania. Tell us what happened in that election.
So, as I said, the big picture is that the globalists are losing power. So they are desperate to control all the nationalist movements in European Union. They will never allow a country to go on the path of nationalism, of sovereignty. So when last year in 2024, the presidential elections came, they forbid 2 candidates, actually 3 candidates that were very good with huge impact at the population. All the Romanians, almost all the Romanians want nationalists. They want sovereignty. Romania had a coup d'etat in 1989 when the president Nicolae Ceausescu had been killed, and since then the Romania entered in this path of robbery, and the multinationals from other countries, companies came into our country, and they destroyed our industry, our agriculture, our educational system, our medical system, everything. So we became a colony in Romania. And people understand very well the situation, but this deep state, which is, as I said, a branch of the global deep state, they were very aware what people want, and that's why they wanted to block all the nationalist candidate because people would vote them. So they blocked three of them, but another one, Călin Georgescu, who was very moderate in discourse, very abstract, very philosophical, the system considered that he's not a threat. He's a very lunatic guy. People will not vote. He's not a danger. But after the electoral campaign started, this guy, Călin Georgescu, started to say the truth very straight on, very directly. And he touched exactly the main points. And he was amazing, absolutely courageous, and very wise guy, and very spiritual. And people were fascinated, absolutely fascinated. Everybody wanted to vote Călin Georgescu. It was a revelation, a huge surprise for Romanians. And the system saw that Călin Georgescu won the first round of elections. The system was absolutely desperate because they did not see this guy, this candidate. Otherwise, they would eliminate him like the others. And after the first round of elections, in Romania, we have two rounds. So there is one round with a big number of candidates, about 15. And after the first round, remains only two, the first two. And in the second round, people have to elect between these two. And it was absolutely obvious that Călin Georgescu will win also the second round of elections, the second tour. And that's why they did something absolutely outrageous. They annulled, they canceled all the electoral process. So they invoked, like in United States, the pretext that Russians, they intervened in our elections in Romania, and they said we have secret proofs, we cannot show it to you yet, but it is clear that we need to cancel the elections because it was interference. So they did not offer any proofs, but they canceled the elections. And they reorganized the electoral process, but without this candidate. They forbid him to candidate again. So they permit the candidature only of their puppets. And of course, one of it so-called won the elections.
Yeah.
Until this day, today, it is 1 year after this coup d'etat. Actually, in December 6th happened this nullify of elections. So until this day, they did not show any proof, and they keep um, um, make pressures on this Călin Georgescu because people love him, and they call him Călin Georgescu every week, maybe twice a week, to sign judicial control because they made up, they set up at least two trials against him. They accuse him that he is pro-Russian, that he is extremist, he is fascist, all kind of accusations that are absolutely ridiculous, hilarious. And they are very frightened, I mean the system, the deep state, because every time Călin Georgescu appears in public, there are thousands of people that shout, Călin Georgescu is our real president. We love you. You are our president, and we support you. So the system consider that people will forget But no way, people become more and more de- decided to support Călin Georgescu. And Călin Georgescu himself says, you know, you are not going to win this battle because in all the Europe, in all the world, the nationalist movements are rising up, and you, the globalists, have no money, have no military, have no power. You are less and less power, and you will lose. And my day will come. But he's not speaking in a selfish way. I mean, I am the best. No, no, no. He's very modest. He's very wise. But he wants to say that the justice will come. And this is inevitable.
Marvin, there's a lot to unpack here. Boy, you just said a mouthful. Um, both sides, Georgescu and we, the people of Romania, very similar to the MAGA movement in the United States. Romania first, is that fair to say? Nationalism in Romania first. No globalism, no central power force of control, which we know their term one world government, and they want Romania to be governed under that one world, new world order government. And so
Exactly.
a guy like Georgescu is a direct threat to their system and their power. Interesting, they use the same playbook they used on Trump, they used on Georgescu. Russia, 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 indictments, they put him on trial. The list of what they did to Trump went on and on for many, many years, as you know. They even tried to assassinate him, of course. Let me
Yes.
ask you, you said in 89 there was a coup d'etat and they murdered Georgescu. Was that a relative? Was that his father or a relation to
No, no, no. The name of the other president, previous president, was Ceausescu. Ceausescu. Now it
Ceausescu?
is
Okay.
Georgescu.
All right,
So
got you.
they are not relatives, no problem.
Thank you for clarifying. I wanted to make sure. So it is a direct parallel what happened to the movement, and that's what it became under Colleen Georgescu. You had a movement, nationalist movement to put Romania and Romanians first, to eliminate the corruption. I'm sure Georgescu's speeches sounded a lot like Trump's in terms of nationalism. Much more spiritual man. I know I listened to him speak many times. Deeply spiritual man. Did not approve of the deep state, the branch that was running it, and understood the human trafficking and the pedophilia that's going on in the world. And he, like Trump, wanted to put an end to all the shenanigans of the deep state. So, is it fair to say it's the same darn playbook as America they used on Georgescu?
Absolutely. Yes. As I told you, they want to control people in all mankind, and they have an agenda. And one of the main points in this agenda is not allowing the nationalists to rise up. Even if we talk about states like Russia, like China, or others, or even if we talk about people that are leaders of some movements, like in Romania, Călin Georgescu is the elected president of Romania. We can say that nowadays in Romania we do not have democracy anymore because they did not respect the will of the people. And people elected something, and they said, "Well, what you want is not important. We know better than you what is necessary for Romania." And of course, their reason to cancel the elections is absolutely stupid. And it's worth to mention that this case went around the world with this nullify of elections in Romania. Um, Even in United States, your Vice President G.D. Vance took position on this matter, and he said not only once. For instance, in February in a Montreal conference, he said, when in Romania, you European Union, you cancel the elections, we cannot talk about democracy anymore. And also Tulsi Gabbard, the chief of secret services in the United States, is preparing, as I know, a dossier because it was a report made in United States regarding democracy around the world. And regarding Romania, they said they canceled the election, so it's not democracy there. We
Marvin,
are uh,
we were
we,
never a democracy in the United States. We were a constitutional republic, which is different
mhm.
than democracy. Under a democracy, the majority rules for the whole nation. And so they love the term democracy, that Trump and MAGA movement is destroying democracy. But in the way that you're using democracy, it's giving control to the power to the people. And they took away the people's will and the people's wishes to have Georgescu as president. And the deep state knew Georgescu could do to Romania what the man in El Salvador, Bule, I think is his name, what he's done in El Salvador, taking it from the most dangerous country to one of the safest places on earth by cracking down on crime and drugs and human trafficking. Georgescu would have gone down the same road that Trump is going down, and they couldn't afford to have a nationalist in the European Union. Let's talk about the European Union for a minute, because I think it's very, very relevant. Our perspective here from the conservative patriot side, we'll call it, is that the EU and NATO and Ukraine, Zelensky, they're pushing for war. They want war. That's the playbook. They've got nothing but war left. And Trump and Putin are working on a peace plan. Would you agree that the EU is at the center of the warmongering right now?
Absolutely. I said before that the globalists moved their general command place from United States, where it was during Biden and some others neocons, and they moved in European Union. And believe me, they do their best in order to have this war, a global, extended war. Look what they've done 1 week ago. So there is a Russian news agency, TASS, and they explained that it was an attempt of taking a jet from Russians in order to bribe some pilots. And there were some secret services from Great Britain and from Ukraine. And they told to those Russian pilots, look, we are going to give you millions of dollars and citizenship in whatever country you want in European Union in order um, to take a MiG 31 jet, Russian jet, very powerful, and to let us to guide this plane to the biggest NATO base in European Union, which is in Romania, is in the town around the town Constanța. The name of the base is Mihail Kogalnician. So it has 3,000 acres. It is huge. And they wanted to set up, as it was a Russian attack on this NATO military base, and in this way they would have a pretext, a reason to respond, so-called respond, to attack Russia. And one of the pilots, Russian pilots, pretended that he agrees with this proposal, but actually he announced the Russian FSB, the secret services of Russia. and they intercepted these British and Ukrainian agents, and they stopped all this operation. uh, and they made everything public. So this is how they act. They want to set up, they are doing all the time with 9/11. It was the same. Um, um, there is some psychological operation and all kind of setup to let public believe special a certain narrative. And today, not yesterday, the Ukrainian military launched four attack missile from United States. I mean, Biden gave in 2023 a number of missiles, American missiles, but it was the requirement to Zelensky, you are not allowed to attack Russia deep inside their territory, only on the territory of Ukraine, even if we speak about the territories that now are taken by Russians. But Zelensky did not listen this requirement, and now it is the first time during Trump administration that he uses these attack missiles, attack MS, in order to hit deep inside Russia. And they launched four missiles near Moscow, but all the missiles were neutralized by Russians' defense system. But however, it is a very important signal, and this is happening because Russians are keep advancing very fast in Ukraine, and they already have 20% of the territory of ex-Ukraine now. They had a referendum in 2022, and four regions, the population in four regions agreed to be part of Russia, to not because they were, however, mostly Russians there. We remember very well Ukraine was
Yeah.
part of the Soviet Union.
Yeah, the
So
Donbass region, if I remember correctly, was part of the Soviet Union. That was one of the four regions, right?
yes, of course.
Yeah.
Actually, Donbas has two regions, Lugansk, and there is another one I forgot. So there are four: Zaporozhye, Kherson, Kharkiv, and in Donbas. So doesn't matter the name. It is important that it is in the eastern part of Ukraine, and these regions are very rich in resources. And why this war started? Because in 2014 it was a coup d'état, so-called Euromaidan, and the president that was pro-Russian, or maybe he was neutral, but he did not accept to join NATO and European Union, and also all the population in eastern Ukraine, they did not accept. And it was a coup d'état made by CIA, by um, it was Victoria Nuland. Victoria Nuland, she was Secretary of State, and they managed to make to put another president, and this new president agreed that they have to put Ukraine in European Union and NATO, and he started to bomb the population in Donbas. There were thousands of deaths, Ukrainian people actually inside Ukraine,
So they're
and
killing their own people.
yeah, and it was the Minsk agreement in the end of 2014, in the beginning in 2015, but Ukraine did not respect the requirements of Minsk agreement, and that's why in 2022 Russians intervened because there were no diplomatic or political instruments to set the problem. and the only way was military intervention.
Marvin, it's amazing. We just had Fox News legal analyst Greg Jarrett on the show, and he wrote a book called Russia Hoax. And the Romanian people watched the Russia hoax in the United States, where Russia and Putin were made, we call it the boogeyman, the bad guy, the guy in the black hat. And now they do the same playbook in Romania. Russia, Russia, Russia. Russia's the bad guy, the boogeyman. And they think the Romanian people are that stupid that they buy into the narrative? And perhaps there are a lot of Romanians that are still sleeping. We have many Americans that have not woken up. What's the situation in Romania with respect to those that are awake and those that are not?
Well, speaking about Romanians, about population, if tomorrow it would be new presidential elections, 70% at least from population would vote Călin Georgescu. But the deep state in Romania owns media and all the main institutions, so they censorship us. For instance, in previous weeks, I made some TV shows with a very respectful professor, university professor. He was professor at Secret Services, but he's still a patriot. He was teacher of thousands of officers that now are working in secret services or in military, in the army. But still, the professor remained a patriot. And I made dozens of TV shows with this professor. But in the previous weeks, all these shows have been deleted by YouTube. And they said, you don't respect our standards. You are a promoter of hate speech. But this is stupid because this professor is so documented. Everything he says is based on some facts. He can prove every word he says. His name is Corvin Lupu. In Romania, everybody knows Corvin Lupu. But the censorship is absolutely fantastic. Myself, when I go in another country, in the airport, the policeman take me out of the line and put me in a bureau at least half an hour in order to intimidate me. You are against our politics. You are pro-Russian. You are a very dangerous man. Think about what you are doing. And they block me money account in a bank. But it was absolutely stupid because what has this money account with my articles and my TV shows? What business has the bank with my private life? They only have to keep my money, and it wasn't a big amount of money. But they are absolutely desperate
I
to
didn't
control
realize,
everybody.
I did not realize we have the same experience. The
Yeah.
state of
And
California, not our federal government, the state of California has seized my bank account a couple of times over the last year and a half. That has nothing to do with the content I create. In fact, it's a corporate account for another business. And, of course, they find the accounts and the banks play the game with them. The banks don't even send you a letter or call you saying the tax board of California wants to freeze your account. The bank cooperates with the tax authorities in California and they just seize the account. So you're a PhD in geopolitics and international relations. What do you think is the best approach for the EU?
so the European Union does not think in terms of efficiency and national interest. They only want um, to obtain global control. They don't care about people. They have an agenda. If millions of people are dying, they absolutely don't care. they are making a plunder in Romania and in all the countries. And one of the main points of their agenda is to bring as many immigrants as possible, especially from Muslim countries. Very many cities in Europe, capitals, have more than 50% immigrants, including London, Paris, and other capitals, big
Yeah.
capitals.
Marvin, we
And
just
there,
did
there is,
we just did an, sorry to interrupt you. I just wanted you to know we've done several shows on the Islamic Caliphate, bringing Sharia law to the West. They're now operating in certain parts of Texas, in Michigan, in New Jersey. We have Sharia law in a local municipality that's operating under Sharia law. So sorry to interrupt. Go ahead. I just wanted you to know we have the same thing happening here in the United
yeah,
States.
yeah, I remember that you told me. So there is actually a plan called Kalergi plan. Kalergi was a Freemason, and he said a few dozens of years ago that we need to merge population, because if they are ethnic unit are, they have nationalist tendencies, and they want their tradition, they want sovereignty, they want the interest of national interest. So if we mix population, we are going to invoke human rights, and we are going to say you are not allowed to be Christian or to defend your Romanian traditions. You have to respect the Muslim traditions, because it is their human right to be equal with you. And they advance this agenda of LGBT gender ideology, and you are not allowed to criticize them. So we know very well that in Western Europe, we can see the steps that they have done. For instance, in Paris or in London, you have the so-called no-go zones. What does it mean? That this Muslim population, they are not going to assimilate into the population of that country. They make exactly what you said, a caliphate, um, and Sharia law in that zone, and police or medical system, they are not allowed to enter there. They are making a lot of crimes, but they are protected by mayor and other authorities. So it is like a state into another state.
Yeah.
It is a
So
caliphate.
similar to
Yeah,
what's happening in the US, down to the
this is their
same
plan.
playbook.
Exactly.
And I believe the Islamic Caliphate is being used by the deep state and the globalist as another divide and conquer tool, as is the
Exactly.
transgender LGBTQ divide. It's all about dividing us, keeping us fighting amongst ourselves so we don't pay attention to what they're doing, right? Marvin, it is astounding the similarities between how they're playing this out in your country, the same way 20 through 24 they played it out under Biden. And I believe it exposed a lot, to the point where, interesting, you said 70% of the country would vote for Georgescu. We know
Yes.
that Trump got more than 70% of the vote. Kamala was, her vote tally was inflated. They did cheat. They tried to steal another election. But as Trump
Mhm.
said, it was too big to rig. Georgescu was too big to rig. Had they let him run, they couldn't have stopped him because
Exactly.
he had such a wide margin. We are parallel nations. We are brothers and sisters. We're operating under the same. Uh,
And Scotty, let me tell you something. They actually acknowledge what they've done. It was uh, commissaire of European Union, Thierry Breton, and he made a stunning declaration in an interview, and he said regarding the situation with cancelled elections in Romania. He said, yes, we did it in Romania and we'll do it in Germany if necessary. It was in that period when in Germany has to come the parliamentary elections in February. So he admitted that European Union canceled the presidential elections in Romania. No problem, because they consider the security of European Union is very important and doesn't matter what population wants. We know better. This is their mentality.
Well, it is my opinion, Marvin, that the EU, European Union, needs to be dismantled. They're more like an NGO. They're just like the UN and the WEF, the World Economic Forum. The EU is a political. It's really a non-government organization made up of politicians. And would you agree the best approach with the EU would be to dismantle it if you could?
Yes, but they will not give up on their will, only if they are forced. They keep going with their agenda. They want to make a federation, I mean, to centralize the leadership of all the EU members in Brussels, for instance, and like the capital of European Union is in Brussels, not like a member states, like a single country that, and Romania, for instance, has to submit. They give orders. Romanians, you have to do this. You have no right to comment. Just execute the orders. This is what they want. But they have a big problem. Actually, two problems. The first problem is with Russia, because Russia is so strong and Russia will definitely win. Actually, they already won this war on the territory of Ukraine. We know very well that it is not a war between Russia and Ukraine. It is a war between Russia and the globalists. Uh, and
Absolutely.
uh,
Absolutely.
the globalists control NATO. We can understand very well the position of Donald Trump. I mean, after the mandate of Joe Biden, United States is in a kind of recession. I mean, Donald Trump needs money, and that's why he sell weapons to NATO, and NATO send these weapons in Ukraine. But um, this will not change the war. Russia already won, and Donald Trump retreat himself from this war. He only make business. And the second problem is of European Union is with the its own population in the member states, because the feeling, the sentiment of nationalism is so strong in Germany, in France, in Italy, in Romania, in Slovakia, in Serbia, everywhere. Every all the people wants peace, want sovereignty, or national interest, and this European Union, they want to suppress this population, and they apply all kind of themes of rules. They impose presidents, prime ministers, governments, um, but they will not succeed. They become weaker every day. They have no money. They have no military. They counted on United States. But now, when United States with Donald Trump does not participate anymore at this conflict, European Union has no power, and it is a matter of time when they have to admit that they lost, and they will become irrelevant. Of course, for instance, I heard that Hungary once Prime Minister Viktor Orban just had a meeting with Donald Trump last week, and Hungary will join BRICS, and this is a huge, important event.
Yep.
And I mean, it is the path of dismantling European Union, as you said.
Well, you just hit the nail on the head. You were a step ahead of me. money. Follow the money. Follow the money. That turns to the next subject of the global reset. It is a global reset. And under the reset, their dark money, their sources of revenue, will not be able to be used in the new system. The new system will be blockchain, open source. Everything is tracked. You won't be able to bring in drug money and human trafficking money and all the dark money that the EU has used over the years. So, would you agree that Trump and the white hats, we'll call them, are choking off the financial resources of the EU?
Yes, absolutely. Um, we used to say here in Romania that the financial banking system is the head of the snake. Călin Georgescu said it many times in his public interviews, and we know that the dollar are fiat money, and they are just printed by Federal Reserve Bank without being backed by real assets. It is just um, based on trust of the government. And we know very well that John Kennedy wanted to change the situation in order to make money being issued by Treasury of United States. But he was killed after he gave this that order 11110. He was killed shortly after, and all the countries in BRICS, and not only in BRICS, there are other organizations, Global South, they started to deal, to make transactions in other currency than dollar. It is a process called de-dollarization. And of course, Donald Trump is very much aware about this, and he knows that he need to change the financial system of the United States because in few years the dollar will be collapsing.
Well,
I
it is
mean, it
already
is obvious.
already worthless. Behind the scenes, nations, because of the BRICS, they're not trading in fiat dollars anymore, as we know. You know, it's interesting. You mentioned the central banks, the head of the snake. We know that. We also know that all wars have been bankers' wars. They fight and fund both sides of the war. Vladimir Putin threw out the central banks years ago. Russia threw the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the bloodlines that control the central banks. That's why Putin is the boogeyman and Russia's no good because they have not been under the control of their central banking system. And Romania and France and Germany, you guys need to get rid of the central banks as well. And under the new financial system, the great news is that's going to happen. BRICS is not a central banking system, it's decentralized. Do Romanians understand this aspect of the financial reset that's coming, and are they optimistic about it?
Yeah, before answering, let me tell you that there is in Romania an unprecedented fact in the world. I mean, we have the same governor of the national bank, so-called national, because it is not acting in the national interest, for 36 years. After the coup d'etat in 1989, it was they put the one who gave the coup d'etat, who executed the coup d'etat. They put a guy, an officer of secret services, at the leadership of our bank, and this guy is unchanged for 36 years. He's still the director of our national bank. His name is Mugur Iserescu. He is military in secret services, general in secret services. So it is a condition put by globalists in Romania. Do put whatever president it is possible, but you are not allowed to touch this guy from the leadership of National Bank. Yes, people are pretty much aware in Romania about this process of de-dollarization, but for the moment we have no power. I mean, the population. There is a fact. This density of agents of secret services in Romania is so high, the highest in Europe, that every party, every movement is very rapidly penetrated by agents of secret services, and they take information and they deviate. They put every party, every movement on a wrong path. So it is very hard to organize ourselves. We are doing TV shows, we are writing articles, books, but it is pretty hard to organize ourselves. But I think the change will come with the transition of the international system.
It's fascinating what's happening in the world as we hope and pray that the EU and the deep state and their banking system is choked off financially by the financial reset. And war is their last hope. I think the only plays they have left in the playbook would be civil war, or to raise Cain or raise hell in the streets of America like they did in 2020. They could use the illegal immigrants to do that here in the United States. Do you have, in addition to the Islam Caliphate and the push toward Sharia law in Romania, do you have similar organizations like Antifa and the street thugs that come out and destroy cities?
We have organizations created by George Soros.
Sure.
His organization are extremely active in Romania. They have a branch called Resist. Resist means, like you say in English,
Yeah, sure.
it's the same word. It's worth to note that George Soros was the first who arrived in Romania with a plane in 1989. After the coup d'etat in 1989, the country, Romania, was in chaos. We did not know what is happening, who killed more than 1,000 people. It was a mess. It was a tragedy. But the first plane who arrived in Romania in this environment, in this situation, was George Soros. And he started to bribe some intellectuals. He organized some movements, and he created with young people some politicians that are now in the government. For instance, the party USR, United We Save Romania, this is the name of the party. The current so-called president, Nicușor Dan, is an emanation, is a product of this party. And this progressist ideology comes from the Sorosist organization. And they control secret services, and at will, at their command, they can take in the street tens of thousands of people if necessary. So they have a lot of power.
Soros and his organizations have been going around the world for decades funding
Revolutions.
revolutions. Resist, that's a great name for Antifa. They're one and the same. Soros funds these
Regime change.
And he funds these radical terrorist organizations. They're domestic terrorists, and I believe our government is going to officially, if they haven't already, I believe, declare Antifa a domestic terrorist organization. But Marvin, you've painted a great picture today. You've painted the picture very clearly that Romania and the European Union are controlled by the globalists as of today, and have been for many, many years. And it's the same exact, it's a carbon copy of what happened in America. There's no difference between the deep state, the globalist in Ukraine, in Romania, the European Union, the United States, in Mexico, where I'm sitting right now, and around the world.
I would like to add something, Scotty. I think it's important. Um,
Please do.
Viewing from a geopolitical perspective, Eastern Europe has a very important strategic role. Um, why? Because considering the principles of geopolitics made by um, at the beginning of 19th century, Halford Mackinder was a creator of these principles. Um, the world can be controlled if you control the so-called heartland. There are two types of powers in the world: the continental powers and the maritime powers. And speaking about continental power, the most important area is that one, heartland. Heartland has two centers of power, Russia and Germany. And um, Halford Mackinder and few years ago, George Friedman. You know, George Friedman is the director of Stratfor in the United States. And he explained for more than 100 years, we, regarding it, globalists, we want to forbid the cooperation between Germany and Russia. That's why First World War, Second World War, and now uh, all the events are happening because there is a specific area called Intermario. Intermario is a corridor between Black Sea and Caspic Sea, and this Intermario contains Ukraine, Romania, and Baltic countries, and it is the so-called sanitary cordon, sanitary belt, and they consider if they control this Intermario with Ukraine, they will not allow Russia and Germany to cooperate. And this is very important to understand, heartland. And there is another area, Rimland. This is the ring of countries around Heartland. And that's why General Wesley Clark, um, 10 years ago, I think you know, in United States, four-star generals, he was the head of NATO for Europe. He publicly explained that Deep State wanted to conquer 7 countries in Middle East, in Rimland. Iraq, Iran, Libya, Lebanon, Somalia, Sudan, in order to control Rimland and then Heartland. So there are some principles. If we understand these principles, we can understand what's happening in the world.
You are saying the word heartland, correct? Heartland?
Yes, yes.
Interesting, because we have a heartland we refer to in America that is the rural areas of the country, not the cities, but the rural areas where people are much more conservative, much more patriotic, much more believe in nationalism. And it's interesting that they call it the heartland. Well, Marvin, we're going to have you back because we're hitting an hour here. We're on top of the hour, and looking forward to having you back. I'm available to come on your show if you want an update on the U.S. There's a lot of things
Sure,
going on here, and just let me know when you'd like to do that. But tell our audience where they can find all of your great work.
So I have 4 YouTube channels, but 3 of them are blocked for the moment by censorship. But you definitely can find me on Telegram. I have a channel on Telegram called Calistrat Marvin Atudorei. In English, maybe it's hard to understand, but I will repeat: Calistrat Marvin Atudorei. Marvin Atudorei you can see on the screen, and there is another name, Calistrat. And you are going to find this channel on Telegram, where I have a whole archive of my TV shows. I have many guests from abroad speaking in English, and of course, many guests from Romania. I'm also on Facebook, Marvin Atudorei page. I have another page on Rumble, and the best is in Telegram, because in Romania, Telegram is not so much censorship. Uh, Regarding of this, I can tell you that Pavel Durov, the chief of Telegram, the owner of Telegram, have been subjected of intimidation by French secret services in order to censorship Romanian channels, to not allow nationalists to post anymore on Telegram. But he refused, and that's why we Romanians, we keep using Telegram. Is the safest for us.
Interesting. Well, Marvin, I want to spell Calistrat. Is it? Would you please spell that first word, Marvin Atudorei? You can see on the screen. I want people to find you on Telegram. So spell Calistrat.
Calistrat. Calistrat.
I would have spelled it right, but I thought there was an E at the end. No E at the end. Calistrate.
No. Calistrat.
Go check Marvin's workout. By first quarter 2026, Marvin will have a channel on Sovereign Radio. We're going to bring him into the fold here. We're excited to do that. And he'll join our team of content creators on sovereignradio.com. Marvin, thank you so much. Very enlightening.
Thank you, Scotty.
Painted the picture for Americans very clearly, and we can be optimistic. I think the future is bright. We just got to get the globalist, the deep state, the swamp, as Trump said, the swamp is very wide and deep, and it's just going to take more time to eliminate them. But we're optimistic, and I want to close on the optimistic note. Are Romanians optimistic, or are they pessimistic, thinking the deep state just can't be beat?
No. Romanians are very optimistic, and the leader of this optimist stream is Călin Georgescu himself. Every time he speaks, he never complains that I'm attacked by the system. I have a very difficult life. No, absolutely. Every time he says we are going to win, the victory is very close. It is absolutely clear that God is with us and the justice will prevail.
Excellent, Marvin. Thank you so much. We'll have you back soon, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you very much, Scotty. See you soon. Bye to your audience.